Hi there, welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to use all this lovely stuff that you can see in front of us. Spoiler alert, not actually going to use those blue crystals, but you might see those in upcoming projects. Still absolutely obsessed with these chrome nail decorative powders. Going to use a few of them. Also, haven't used these in a while. These are the Twinkle glitter tints from Jewels at Resin Jewels, and these two fantastic molds. These are like little vases or pots, I suppose. This particular one I'm showing you, very glossy on the inside, and this other one has so much detail. Made from slightly different silicone. It's a little bit more, not chunky, but a bit bigger, and has a matte style finish to it. Right, we have this. So this is the first of the two molds. Just carefully turning it inside out here. Now this is thinner silicone, so I'm just taking my time just to turn it inside out there, just pushing it through. There we go. And as you can see here, it's really glossy. Now there seems to be a little bit of an imperfection on this mold, so just managed to get that loose and then just checking it over. Now these are the first time using these molds, so I am just checking them just to make sure there's no little splits anywhere. They weren't expensive, and as usual, everything we've used in today's video will be linked in the description box below. Also thought at first, before I made my final decision, I might put some of those lovely blue crystally chipstones just in the top there perhaps, but decided not to. That would be a future video. So going to apply some of those beautiful mica, or not micas, chrome powders to this mold, and just doing the usual procedure, applying it with a dry paintbrush just over the mold into the areas where I want it to go. Now this does remind me, this mold, the detail on it, maybe of a daisy or perhaps a sunflower. I mean, it is stunning, but this I've decided to opt to go for blues, silvers and sort of aurora borealis tints. Now this, I don't apply things this quickly to molds. This was done on a time lapse because I took my time doing it. There did both sides of it as well. Slightly different variation in colour, only slightly, but once I was happy with it, just checked it over again like we're doing here. There we go. Look at that. Can you see it? Real pearlescent shimmer, shine, and almost like a glow to it. Now the centres I did just clean up with a little wet wipe because I didn't want them to have all the other mica colours in them. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want, but I wanted to have just one colour in there. There we go. So decided what colour I was going to put in this side and then did a slightly different colour the other side. Look at that. It is just beautiful. I'm just checking it over again just to make sure that I've got these lovely chrome powders everywhere I want them. So this is a slightly yellowy colour when it goes on to start with, and then when you just brush it in, brush all the loose powder in, it goes much paler, but it's got that real warm golden glow and sheen to it. Really like that. A little bit of dimpling on the mould there, which is just the detail of it. And then this one we did with the slightly bluey green colour. And again, same process, just brush it all in thoroughly. It's just gorgeous. Love this. Real pearlescent glow to it and hues and colours. Now, don't forget to do that part. That part, when you push it down, is the bit that creates the void. So it makes it a bit like a vase. I mean, there's nothing to stop you putting some very short stemmed daisy flowers in this. You'd probably only be able to get 2 or 3 in maybe, but I probably would just use it as a bit of decoration. So there we go, just carefully pushing the centerpiece back in. Go careful, remember this is a thinner silicone. Just carefully pulling it through there. You notice I'm also wearing the black nitrile gloves. That's literally because I just don't want to get the chrome powders all over myself, all over my skin and so on. There we go. Do make sure that when you're using these chrome nail powders or mica powders or regular chrome powders, that you work in a well ventilated area. Wear a mask as well, because it's very fine. They go up into the atmosphere that you're working in, the working environment, and you don't want to breathe them in. So turned the other mould inside out. This is the other one. and I am managing already to get chrome powders, nail powders all over it, but never mind. Decided where I wanted to put what colours and then just went for it. So this again is a time lapse because I took my time. Look at all that detail coming through. They're beautiful. Love it. Particularly like the back part of this mould where you've got like layers of looks like folds of fabric almost. Absolutely beautiful. So this one's got more of a void in it, as you can see there. So yes, I mean, you could plant little succulent plants in it. You could put cactus in it. You could put the what I call air plants in it. You know, the ones that don't need any kind of soil or water. Miracle plants, those are. And yeah, look at that. So look at this from the other side, turned inside out. You can see the detail shows up even more. Be nice to see what these would look like made with eco resin too. So this is the part A and part B of regular epoxy resin. I've also added in some more of this lovely twinkle tint glitter and mica powder from Jules at Resin Jules, and some of this Let's Resin Ocean White pigment. So I made up 500 millilitres. So it's an equal mixing ratio of part A and part B of the resin and the hardener. I used Tea Expert resin because that's our brand of choice. Mixed it carefully and steadily for a good 5 minutes, and that was what we ended up with. Now this is the first mould. Now slowly and steadily wins the race here when you're pouring resin into moulds. It helps to prevent bubbles from forming and collecting to the inside areas and surfaces of the mould, because you don't want that. You want as least amount as possible of bubbles. So I've poured a little bit in. I'm then picking it up and just giving it a good squidge. Give it a good squidge. There we are. And this just tries to prevent any of the little bubbles that might be in the resin mix of sticking to the inside parts of the mould and then creating air pockets and little divots and dents when it's cured. It's not what you want. So just swapped hands there for a little while, for a bit, and poured it in. Now, filled it up almost to the top there, and then just took a coffee stir stick, or you can take a little cocktail stick or a micro brush, and just go around the surface, the inside surface of the top of the brim of that mould. Again, just trying to encourage any little bubbles that might be stuck there to come to the surface. Now, if you're going to tap your mould and pick it up and do what I've just done there, be careful that you don't knock the mould over and spill resin everywhere. So just going in, little final spritz with some isopropyl alcohol, and then I put it to one side so it can cure. And now we go in with the second mould, and we're going to do the same process. I'm going to pour the resin in. There we are, just a little bit, and then pick it up. And this one, I'm putting my hands up inside where the void part is of the mould and just giving it a bit of a squidge. There we go. Bit of a squidge, like we did with the other one. And then we're just going to top it up with the resin. There we are. Slow and steady. I mean, obviously these clips have been sped up because I took a few minutes just to fill up that mould. Now this mould was a little bit uneven. We did get a little bit of overspill, but as long as you've got it on a surface that's protected whilst it's curing, it should be absolutely fine. Again, round the top edge there with the coffee stir stick, trying to prevent from any little bubbles from forming, and then giving it giving it a little spritz with some isopropyl alcohol. There we go. And there we are. Now this is 24 hours later and we're at the demold stage. So just carefully, because don't forget this, as I've said before, this is a thinner silicone. Just carefully pushing it down and then releasing it, a little twist and turn, and eventually it'll come out. There we go. Now let's look at the bottom part. Now the resin has shrunk back slightly, leaving a a bit of an indent there and a bit of a sharp edge. So all I'm going to do is take a nail file. So that's an emery board. You can use your deburring tool if you want to, or a bit of very fine sandpaper, and just sand down all around that edge, trying to make sure that it's nice and smooth and not sharp. Then you've got a few options. There we go, so it's nice and smooth. You can either do what I'm about to do, or you can put down just a bit of cork, perhaps, some self-adhesive cork, or stick some of the little plastic feet to the bottom. But what I'm going to do, actually, sidetrack, look at this. This is beautiful. Gorgeous pearlescent glow, shiny finish as well. So what I'm going to do is actually fill the bottoms of these with some UV resin, which you will see shortly. Now, this is the other one. Now, this mould's a bit thicker, so you can be a bit more firm with it. But this mould has a matte finish to it. So it's interesting to see what the situation is. Similar thing with the base on this one. The resin had shrunk back a bit whilst it was curing. So just went round that edge with the emery board, just giving a little bit of filing it down just a little bit there. Just take the sharp edge off. And then after I've done that, we'll have a bit more detail at the mould itself, or the piece itself. Look at that. Now, the Aurora Borealis effect, the sheen of those chrome powders, the nail decorative powders, and the detail that's come up with the starfish and the ammonites and the shells, and then that like folding of, almost looks like folds of fabric on the back there. Absolutely stunning. It does look beautiful. It looks really beautiful in the matte finish. But I do something to it which I don't show you on camera. I didn't realise I wasn't filming it. But there we go. This happens sometimes. I give it a little bit of a little extra something. Not involving gold. So there's a shocker. No gold applied or silver. But you will see at the final piece, the final end part. So this was the first one. I've turned it upside down. I've got some UV resin. I've got the lovely tint from Jules at Resin Jules. And I'm mixing some UV resin and some of that lovely sparkly tint. There we go. Look at that. Just disperses across the surface of the UV resin like magic. Mix it in nice and thoroughly. And then you very, very carefully pour it over the surface of the bottom of this, we call it the flower shaped vase. So there we go, just carefully pouring it onto the surface there. Now, because it's got that little lip up, it creates a natural barrier. But having said that, when you do what I'm doing now and you're just using a coffee stir stick, or if you've got a silicone tip tool, just to tease it out to the edges, just out to the very edges, to try and get it to create a completely level surface. So there's no sharp edges, no nothing. And I love the addition of that twinkle tint because it's just giving it a little bit of sparkle. You know, you can never have too much of a little bit of a sparkle. So then a UV light's coming up. This is our UV lamp from Let's Resin. I think it's from. Hang on, we will see any moment. And yeah, because it's not tall, there we are, it's from Let's Resin. Because it's not tall enough, I'm just balancing it carefully on a couple of upturned mixing cups, and I let it cure for 5 minutes. Obviously, if it's then not cured enough, go back, do it for another 5 minutes. Now, these are the finishing shots. I don't know if you can see it there. I mixed some more of the UV resin with some of that twinkle tint and just rubbed it, I'm going to use my gloved hand and rubbed it over the surface of this this one, and then cured it under the UV lamp. As I say, it's probably not picking up very well in these, but it just gives it, just lifts it that little bit extra. There we are. So if you've joined us today in the premiere, thank you for doing that. If you've had a chat with us in live chat, it was nice to talk to you. If you haven't liked, shared and subscribed, please do. It's free to do so. And we'll see you again on Sunday with another video, maybe another autumn themed video, we'll see. Final shot coming up with some little succulents, some little fake succulent plants in, just to give an idea of what you can do with these if you wanted to. Take care, everybody. See you in a few days. Bye.